If you guys have fallen in love with this King's Gambit by pawn to f4, then guys, believe me, you are going to love this Vienna Gambit. It's actually very amazing to see guys that how fast you're going to checkmate black. So guys, this is me Shubham Kumar, your host, and you're watching Mr. Citadel Chess. And today in this video, we are going to see this particular opening, an improved version of the King's Gambit called the Vienna Gambit. It's actually very amazing guys, because from the Vienna Gambit, you can unleash multiple traps. Though although I'm showing you only 5 of these traps, but these traps are also very insane, and your opponent will simply gets confused at what he should play, and in that confusion, yes, you are going to take advantage and you're going to win this match. So guys, without wasting any more time, let's start this video. We are going to discuss 5 insane traps in the Vienna Gambit. So let's start over guys. We have e4, e5, the standard king's pawn opening. So this white is proclaiming the control of a center. It's called a very aggressive opening, because from the e4 only, white has multiple options. He can unleash multiple gambits on black, and black has to be very careful while dealing with this e4 move. One of the very aggressive gambits that we are going to understand is knight c3, the Vienna Gambit. Then your opponent can play knight f6 or can play knight c6. Although the most played move is knight f6, so we are going to understand our traps from this position only. But I will tell you one more trap, and also I will tell you how to play when knight comes to c6. So don't worry, we are going to understand both of these ways. But first, let's understand knight f6. The moment knight f6 occurs, you have to go with pawn f4. It is called the Vienna Gambit, the classical Vienna Gambit. Your opponent can either take this pawn, your opponent can either go with knight c6, a development defending on this pawn. Your opponent can either play d5, oh sorry, it's a d6, or can play d5, one of the best maneuver in the Vienna Gambit. Guess what? Regardless what your opponent plays, you are going to win this match in no time, because the traps that we are going to discuss will depend on these moves only. So guys, let's start with the most played move. It's actually pawn takes pawn at the f4 square. Now the moment pawn takes pawn occurs, you have to go with pawn e5 hitting on this knight. And as soon as you go with e5, your opponent will realize that this knight doesn't have really good squares. I mean, these two squares are controlled by our knight, so he can't go there. These squares are controlled by our queen, so yes, he still can't go there. So the only option remain with the black is to go knight g8, one of the very passive move. And also, if black becomes tricky, he can go with queen e7, pinning this pawn to the king. We are going to discuss both of these moves. Okay, let's go with the queen e7. Okay, let's just understand first of all the passive move. We have knight g8, very passive move. Then guys, most of the players usually go with d4 defending this pawn, but they simply miss queen h4 check on the king, and that's very strong attack on your vulnerable king. So that's why we have to go with knight f3 first to defend this square. Now most of the players are going to play d3 attacking this pawn. We have d4 defending it, this pawn, and simultaneously hitting on this pawn also. Now we have pawn takes pawn, and here you could take this pawn, then the queen will get exchanged. You could take this pawn and solidify your center, so that's fine with you. But here is another interesting knight, bishop c4. We will discuss that also. First of all, let's discuss the most played move in this situation, which is pawn takes pawn. Then what do we have? It's queen take this queen. Then we have knight take this queen. That's fine. This pawn is still under attack, so you could just grab this pawn anytime you want, and you have a very great center here because you have a pawn and a knight. Meanwhile, your black is currently underdeveloped, so you can just play logically from this one time and you can simply win this game. Moreover, if you want to go with a tricky line, aggressive line, you can simply choose bishop c4, hitting on this pawn at f7. Now we have again pawn takes pawn. You just ignore this threat and you simply go for bishop take this pawn, and that's very crucial for you because you want f file to be open. Now we have pawn take this knight, and don't want to trade the queen, simply just sacrifice your bishop, because if king takes, you have this maneuver, that's fine, you are going to win this queen. So king moves away, and now bishop g5 is not an option because knight will simply defend this check. So that's why we have to go queen e2 check on this king. Let's say king take this bishop, then we have knight check on the king. Now guys, if king goes to e7, which most of the players are gonna do, then we have knight c6, a fork on this queen and this king. That's fine, we are again going to win a queen. Let's say guys, if king comes to f6, which is again one of the most played move, you simply go with bishop g5 check on this king. Let's say king takes bishop because the queen was hanging. Then what do we have? It's knight to this f7, a fork on this queen and this king. Let's say king moves away, hitting on this knight, and you could take this queen, but again guys, I wanted to go for a bigger fish. It's actually, we are going for a castle here, automatic, I mean direct castle check, whatever you want to say. It's a very great check, of course. Bishop blocks it. You just sacrifice a rook. King takes, again rook, another check. King moves away. Then we have queen check, queen defense. We just take it because they are defense by the knight and is defended by the rook. And guess what? They are just checkmate. So guys, this for the first step, and I hope you have liked it. Okay, we are back on the initial position where we discussed knight g8. What will happen if queen comes to e7? Simply just go with the queen e2, unpinning this pawn, and now this knight is actually a real threat. So knight has to go back to g8. Then we have knight f3 defending this h4. Now we have knight c6 hitting on this pawn. Then we simply go with d4 defending it. Black uses d6 to add more pressure. Then we have knight d5 hitting on this queen. Queen moves away because we have knight c7, a fork on this king and this rook. That will be just a devastating blow to our opponent. That's why he has to protect this c7 square. Guess what? We still take this pawn. Queen takes, we have pawn takes pawn hitting on this queen, controlling this e7 square, and also that's a discover check. So queen e7, we just grab this queen. Okay guys, we are back on the initial position where we discussed pawn takes pawn. Let's see what will happen if your opponent plays knight c6 defending this pawn. Then what you have to do, simply just take this pawn. We are knighting this pawn. Then we have pawn to d4 hitting on this knight. Guess what? It is partially like the Halloween gambit, but in Halloween gambit we usually sacrifice our knight. But in this situation, our knight is still present at g1. Therefore, it's a partial Halloween gambit, but it's kind of a similar to that. Then we have knight moves away. So you simply push the e5, knight moves away again. You have knight f3 defending this pawn and also going for this h square defense because that's very crucial in Vienna gambit and also in king's gambit too. Then we have pawn to d6 hitting on this pawn. We simply just go with a bishop c4 hitting on f7. Then we have pawn takes pawn. You simply go for a kingside castle. Rook is actually very active. We have pawn takes pawn. We go with knight g5. Now this pawn is actually very weak because we have three attackers. Meanwhile, black has only one defender, which is not enough, of course. Now, if black is gonna ignore this threat and takes knight, then what do we have? It's bishop, take this pawn at f7, king moves away, we have rook check, king moves away, we have queen check, bishop defense, and we have rook to this e6, and that's a checkmate. So that's why, guys, it's very important for the black to just defend. So that's why, guys, it's very important for the black to defend the pawn at f7. For that, black can go with knight e5, hitting on this bishop, defending on this pawn, but still we have three attackers. Meanwhile, black has only two defenders, so that's not enough again. Knight take this pawn, hitting on this queen, hitting on this rook. Therefore, knight has to take it. We have bishop check. Let's say, guys, king moves away. We have queen check, king moves away again. We have bishop check, king moves away. And final blow, queen b5, a checkmate. That's again great thing. Okay, guys, we are back on the initial position where we discuss pawn takes pawn and we discuss knight c6. Let's see what will happen if your opponent goes with d6. One of the very great move, defending this pawn. That's nothing to worry about. Then you have knight development, attacking here and defending h4. That's fine. Then we have pawn takes pawn. You simply go with d4, simultaneously hitting the pawn at the f4 and also controlling center here. That's actually fine with you. Meanwhile, black lacks the e5 pawn, which is actually very crucial for controlling the center. However, we have two central pawns, so our center control is actually superior to black. Therefore, we are knight h5 defending this pawn. We just simply go with knight d5, and guess what, guys? We are hitting this pawn twice. That's fine. We have g5 defending it. Guess what? We just take this pawn. Queen takes, and can you find the best move? It's actually queen take this knight. Queen takes queen. We have knight to this f6 check on this king. Let's say king moves away. Just grab this queen. That's fine. Now this pawn is attacked. Yes, twice. Let's say bishop defends it. Just take it. Bishop takes. We have bishop takes. You have golden pair bishops. And that's actually very amazing because you have actually 1 point lead. Okay, guys, we are back on the initial position where we discuss pawn takes pawn. We discuss knight c6. We discuss d6. Let's discuss the best move in this situation. It's actually d5. The logic behind d5 is actually similar to the Russo gambit, guys, where against f5 we play d4. In the king's gambit against f4 we play pawn to d5. And now, guys, it's a question time for you. Whenever white plays e4 and f4 going for a king's gambit, black's strongest reply is e5 and then d5. Then tell me, guys, what is the name of this gambit from the black pieces? I mean, what is the name of this e4 and d5 against e4 and f4 maneuver? So tell me in the comments, right? If you don't know the answer, ask me in the comments. I will definitely tell you. Now we have pawn takes pawn, we have knight takes this pawn, we have queen f3 hitting on this knight and x-raying this pawn. That's fine. If, guys, knight take this knight, that's again fine with us because we have pawn takes pawn, unleashing bishop from this side. Then we have knight development hitting on this pawn. We have pawn to d4 defending it. That's fine. Then we have bishop going for a castle. Then we have bishop d3 controlling this square. They went for castle. We have knight development, so we can also go for a castle and rook becomes suddenly active. That's fine. Let's say they go with the f6 hitting on this pawn. We don't care because we have queen s5 going for this kind of a checkmate. That's fine. Then we have pawn to this g5 hitting on this queen. We just sacrifice a bishop. Pawn takes. We have queen takes. That's fine. King moves away. And guess what? We simply go for a castle. If guys rook g8 hitting on this queen, that is blunder because they have queen s6, a checkmate. That's fine. Therefore, your opponent may go take pawn takes pawn so that rooks can be traded. What do we have? It's actually queen check, king moves away. We have bishop to this h6 hitting on this rook. There's a rook takes rook. We have again rook takes rook, and now this is actually very crucial square. Moreover, we have this check and यहाँ पे checkmate. That's great. Now we have bishop to this f6 defending this square. Then we simply go for this check again. King moves away. We have rook take this bishop. Queen can't take it because we have queen takes queen. That's fine. Now let's say queen comes for a trade. That's again there is nothing that black can do. We can simply go with the rook to this f8, ping this queen to the king. Queen takes, we have bishop takes, and on the next move, it's just a checkmate. No one is going to stop it. At this point of time, let's say if black doesn't play, knight take this knight. Instead, he went for development, hitting on this pawn. Then you have bishop b5, pinning this knight to the king. That's fine. Now this pawn is protected. Let's say knight takes knight. You have pawn takes pawn, opening bishop's diagonal. That's fine. We have queen h4 check on this king. We play g3 hitting on this queen. We have queen again check. We could take this queen, but instead I will recommend bishop e3, going for just a development. We have queen take this pawn because that was actually undefended. We have knight development so that we can simply go for a castle. We have queen take this pawn hitting on this bishop. However, that's not defended by anyone. Okay, that's fine. We have castle. Now this rook is not hanging, but this bishop is actually hanging. So queen take this bishop. Then we have queen check at the f7. King moves away. We have knight d4 hitting on the knight and hitting on the queen. So knight takes knight. We have bishop to this g5 check on this king. Let's say bishop defends. We just take it with a queen and that just checkmate. So that's fine. So guys, we are back on the initial position where we discussed knight f6. So we have discussed 4 traps of knight f6. Let's say what will happen if your opponent play knight c6. Then what do we have? Again f4, the Vienna gambit. Then we have pawn takes pawn. We simply go with pawn to d4, hitting on this pawn simultaneously and also controlling the centers. Then fine. If queen h4, check on this king. What do we have? It's actually king moves away at e2 and the bishop can simply go for a skewer kind of thing. So our queen will simply get lost. So we have to be very careful about this. Let's say we have what? d6 going for this attack. Then we simply develop our knight at f3 hitting on this queen. Bishop pins this knight to the king. That's fine. Then we have bishop take this pawn so that we can simply go for a g3 hitting on this queen. We have bishop take this knight. King takes and we have knight development so that queen can simply just go for this check. We have g3 hitting on this queen. Queen went for the check. King moves away. We have queen takes queen. We have rook take this queen. And now guys, finally the chaos has been settled. And guys, guess what? The number of pieces that were traded are actually equal, but still white has an edge here. White has plus 1.7 rating because white has 2 central pawns, a lead in development. All of his pieces are actually very active. Now, apart from queen h4, check on this king. Most of the players are going to play bishop b4, pinning this knight to the king. And guys, this is actually the most played move. So guys, we have to discuss that also. So bishop take this pawn, bishop take this knight. We have pawn take bishop that sign. We have d6 and we go with bishop d3, defending this pawn. We have knight f6 and we go with knight e2, going for a development, also for a castle. We have castles, that's fine. We have bishop g4, pinning this knight to the queen, that's fine. We have bishop to this g5, a counter pin. Then we have h6 hitting on the bishop. Bishop takes knight. We have pawn takes pawn. Pawn takes knight, I mean, because queen is not going to take it because that's defended by the rook. That's why pawn has to take it. Then we have queen to this d3, going for this attack. Let's say guys, king comes to s7 to defend this pawn. We don't care. We have e5 and that just a great check. Let's say pawn comes to defend it. We just go for the h3 hitting on this bishop. Bishop to this knight. Just ignore it. We just take this pawn. That's fine. Bishop to this bishop. And guess what? This rook is actually hanging, but after rook h5, this king is hanging, and that's great. Let's say guys, queen c8. But why queen is going to on a c8? I don't know, but some player has played queen c8. But queen c8 met with this check and mate. But why the hell he played queen c8? I don't know actually. There was a match and queen c8 was played there. So let's discuss the best move here, and the best move for the king is to king g8 is the best move, but you still take this pawn. There's nothing to worry about it. As per the engine is saying queen f6, but we could take this pawn now, just checkmate. Okay, so engine has given up. The thing is that you can simply win this game in no time. In this position, the next move is just checkmate. No matter what your opponent do, the next move is just checkmate. So guys, this was the Vienna Gambit and I hope you have liked it. Actually, this is one of my favorite opening for the white, and it works insanely well in rapid bullet and blitz games. Especially in the rapid matches, it works really very great. So guys, this is me Shubham Kumar, your host, and we have discussed more than 5 traps in the Vienna Gambit, and I would like to know from you guys that how you liked it, and if you ever tried these gambits, ever tried these traps, do let me know in the comments, okay? So guys, like, share, comment and subscribe the channel, and I will meet you in the next video. Till then, take care.